This video is sponsored by Stick Gaming. From all your gaming stuff and hoodies, hats, gaming features, gaming keys, and all alike. Check out the link in the description below and use Dragon Family for supporting the channel and your 15% off. Greetings, my Dragonborns and Dragonborns. This is Dragon here, aka Dragonborn, and welcome to my review of, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time on the N64 version. Now, I actually had played this game before in my own youth, as when I was, at least when I was a little kid at the time. Yeah, to be quite honest. But I gotta literally say, it has been at least a long time since I actually played this little game. And of course, as usual, I think y'all actually definitely know my own rating. Give it the highest my dragon rating and my lowest dragon ratings, and see how things are. And that's what I end up going ahead and do through this entire video. I actually hope you definitely enjoy my review of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. As we start our own adventure in the name of Link, but you can actually choose whatever name in basically of the game that we end up figuring out that basically Link is having nightmares without knowing, and without some spoilers, might predict a little bit of what's coming up ahead of the game. Figuring out two ladies running away on a horse and an evil man that's apparently haunting his nightmares. And the Great Deku Tree, knowing this for some time, has called Navi, pouring to his requests, and decided to start seeing if she can actually find this young boy, as we guys know. And even after what he has feeling what might come up ahead of time, he actually lets her know that it's basically time that this young boy is beginning to start his adventure. After Link, or mostly of the character, that basically we get prepared and meet the Deku Tree as we speak right now. And as usual, we end up knowing that basically the Great Deku Tree has been waiting for us for some time, just to test our own courage within the Great Deku Tree, which is really cool. And plus, as much, we start the first dungeon of the game. Right after being the first boss, the Great Deku Tree has something to tell us before we start our own adventure. Basically, it's saying about how the Triforce began, and how basically the three goddesses have made the earth, which is actually a good touch in my personal opinion, and how much the Triforce was ever made in this game itself. And as usual, he has tasked us to meet the Princess of Destiny, and we are finals. While that, before he goes, he gives us the first spiritual stone in the game, so that way we can start at least the beginning portion of the game, which is the Ocarina Emerald, as you can see right now. And this is where I believe Nintendo was really pulling the heartstrings from here. This is basically where we say goodbye, and the Great Deku Tree has Faramore has died, as we finally say goodbye to the father figure, as we know. Right after some time, we go to meet, Princess Zelda from this first game. And she actually gives us, she actually questioned us on how things are going, and as much as she has been having some dream issues, and for having a prophecy coming up. And as y'all can see right now, this is also part of the other story that she has, as the world finally has known, as you can see right now. Basically, you have Door Time and something else, and of course the Ocarina of Time. And as a little sneak peek I look ahead, as she has a good strong feeling who's that, it's Ganondorf. As she doesn't know completely top of her head, but she'd probably end up feeling that she may have to have some good strong feelings that it is definitely Ganondorf is the Dark Cloud, and want to make sure that, well, me and her and anybody who helps her out is basically, well, as helping out. And this is where we get two of the other special stones, which correctly is from the Goron Ruby, from the Gorons, and the Sapphire Ruby, and Zora Sapphire from, as you guessed it, the Zoras. And this is where the other part begins. And once we head back to Hyrule, then this is where, well, as once again, as you all mentioned, as I mentioned, is where, well, Link's nightmare has officially come true. You see Epona, Zelda, and Impa mostly run away, and she threw the Ocarina as much as we saw the rest gallop away. Without knowing, Ganondorf was right behind us, and he probably ended up losing them in the meantime. And after basically getting the other two keys, well, mostly key if you want to ask me, basically we play the Songs in Time and get at the Ocarina to hopefully open the door of time, which has been remaining closed for, well, a good amount of reason. Let's put it that way. But now, as all three spiritual stones with the Ocarina and the Song of Time, we begin to open the door of time, revealing one of the great keys of the game. Well, mostly of the game lives. The Master Sword, the the Great Evil Bang Sword. Basically, no one has picked up. And, of course, we unleashed the second round for Ganondorf, and after 7 long years, we first meet the first sage, is Rauru. And he explained to us that we've been sleeping for 7 years, and now we are full adult. That's basically, well, we've been sleeping for 7 long years. And now he tells us this is basically how things will end up going, and as much as we need to remain and reawaken the other sages. And of course, he gives us a medallion to basically to add his power to us. And coming back from the realm, we actually meet one of the other characters, which is, well, Pim Sheik. Basically, he tells us there's one in the forest, one in the mountains, one in the vast lake, one in the house of dead, and one in the sun goddess, and each one shall be awakened by this time. The gameplay. Ever since I was doing this on an emulator, I was basically using a USB controller that helped out mostly most of the time because, well, I didn't have the actual console itself, but this seemed to be working pretty good in my personal opinion, just basically and just in general alone. If you definitely would ask me, it's definitely really, really good just to feel and have a little, basically just in general, it's just, in my personal opinion, it is really good. Now, there is some annoying things that definitely I personally don't really much in general like as much, because it's just a couple things that definitely did annoy me, at least in general. It's just sometimes the gameplay kind of mostly how the pacing felt, it was okay, but it's not really that much. And of course, this is probably like my 100th time, and yes, this is I actually had 2 different saves. The first save, as y'all can see, is basically just Dragon, and I was kind of rushing it basically little bit by little, because I just didn't, at least as much I forgot at the time that I actually kind of had it basically recording, and I was like, oh shoot, I need to get this recording, and basically I almost forgot, and so I just want to at least mention that. The frame rate is actually pretty good in general. It is pretty neat, and of course I think this basic game plays right around, I think if I remember correctly, 30 to 25 FPS, but I think at least in general. And of course, it's just in general, I don't know, in general it's a real good, but the USB S Nintendo 64 controller I was basically using, it was a little bit stiff, and again I think it was just in the emulator itself. It just felt a little bit too stiff, or just too much of a pain to mostly in general to use, and basically it just was a bit okay, and nothing really more of it. It just feels okay. And there is some side quests that basically you can do, like maybe earn like a heart container, or you know, maybe some little money, or you know, like even the big Goron sword, you know, which honestly that's a really fun quest just to do in general, because it just feels, you know, like you accomplished something. The Skulltula side quest is, well, good and all, but the last reward is not really worth it in my personal opinion, because there's nothing really much you can probably you know can do after you collected the 100, you know, the 100th Skulltula, or golden Skulltula, as some may say. But you know, and of course there's just this one stupid side quest I hate with a passion, and it's the freaking Big Poe hunt. Now, the reason why I don't like it the most is because the simple fact is, oh hey, you know, you can just end up like go collect these woes. Okay, that's fine and wonderful, but at the end of the freaking side quest, you get a bottle. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. I think whoever made the game probably was like, oh hey, you know, let's just make a game, you know, side quest, and let's just make that, you know, its own, you know, thing. It makes no sense to me. I'm just sorry, I just don't. Yeah, I already collected the 100 Poe, and that's my only gripe. It's like, why am I going to collect 100 Poes to get a 4th bottle in the game? It makes no sense to me. And, you know, that's just the only thing I can really say about that. It's just really annoying, really stupid, and, you know, it just makes no sense to me. You know, why it always had to be that one I can Poe, which you what I need to get it done. And it's just really not fun at all. And of course, the other one is the freaking, you know, the bomb shoe one, or I mean bomb shoe alley, which, you know, you'll end up selling. It's just basically RNG, you know, if you want to get it. Okay, yeah, the only two things that you may actually want to end up getting is just, you know, the upgraded bomb bag and the you know, the piece of heart, in personal opinion, because the rest of it, it's not really basically good. And it's basically, from what I understand too, how many times I played it, it's basically RNG, you know, type of thing, and it's just really it's meh, if you definitely ask me. And there's not really much about it, you know. Okay, yeah, there's a, you know, probably other things can mention or say about it, but you know, there's not really much. And honestly, I gotta say, what, you know, if you can at least take at least one thing out of the game, it's definitely that stupid Poe hunt, because it's just not really worth it. And even if it was the Skulltula one, it should just been at least something like even another piece of art. That's just maybe my personal opinion and just how I felt with it. It wasn't really good in general. It just was like the last thing. It just felt like it was like a last thing to do. Oh, what should we do? Oh yeah, we should give him money. Basically, in the main game, okay, I can definitely see it's worth this, but for me who played the Master Quest, it's really rough and it's really annoying and hard, but just mostly annoying. It didn't feel right. I mean, it didn't feel anything really good. Now, of course, there is another set. I mean, and of course, there is a randomizer, which is honestly really fun to play. You know, just to see what's new and keep the game fresh. In my personal opinion, that's really fun. I'm not gonna lie, it's really good. Just in personal opinion, it's just maybe that's just how I maybe felt, or whatever the case is, and I'm down with that. And of course, see, Blink Row, at least in some other spots, it's it's okay. And there, at least I gotta mention at least those two ones. Those just really bug the shit out of me. Basically, just in general, I personally believe this game is definitely worth the play, or just play again on any streams, or just alone in general. And even completionists out there, the game, in my personal taste, it's definitely really good. And just alone, if you're just casually or just having mostly fun about, because it's really good. And of course, the graphics these days now, it's okay. I mean, well, I think it just aged pretty okay. So that's just the only side to this. So and I think just in general, of course, the 3DS definitely has its own updates, basically of two of its own counterpart. I mean, from its own counterpart right now. And now, as the end of the closing of this chapter, as Blink, or mostly the main character, face off Ganondorf. And mention up, this is basically the last part. Ganondorf playing the orchestra, organ, as you see here, and all three Triforces come together. Triforce of Courage, Triforce of Wisdom, and the main one, Triforce of Power. And this is actually really neat. At least this part actually definitely speaks to this is like, the game actually huge, and of course Ganondorf has been searching the other two Triforces, basically, and now he can quote get the other two parts of this whole entire, in this entire journey that he's in. And the fight begins, basically, where the only thing I can definitely say is to this, mostly this fight right now, is just play tennis ball. Really, that's all you do. Just simply hit the ball, hit him back, grab a light arrow, and just fire away, and just constantly do that until he finally, gets defeated, and do a couple jump attacks or speed runs, and basically it's done and over. Until that, this is where he takes his breath. And again, this is where I kinda actually definitely did took from my other save, basically, as shown. And he tried to take the castle, wipe the castle away. After the grand escape and fighting him twice, which this actually took me far too long, 30 minutes, literally, I tamed it, 30 minutes, finally getting it. And now, basically, is where we, alone, as the character, look for find love, from, to Ganondorf. Zelda holds him, and here's the final move. Oh man, that must be just kind of hard taking it to the jaw. But in the 3DS, they switched it to the skull. And I said, after the sages open up the seal to put Ganondorf to rest, basically he has a few words this, at least that chapter of Ganondorf closes. He curses Zelda, curses the sages, and curses basically Link, or basically the character that you basically named. And of course, someday he will exterminate all our descendants, and of course, with the power of the Triforce of power in his hand, he can forever, probably end up breaking the seal. Until then, he's forever in the sacred realm. And as basically the ending chapter ends from Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, basically somehow we're above the clouds for some reason. I never understood that. So, and of course, Zelda basically thinks peace has begun, and this is basically where where the whole where this splits in the basically timeline. She regrets that we pulled the Master Sword and we lost all of our 7 years of childhood, and of course she requests the Ocarina of Time to be passed down to her for there's reasons. Since she is a sage, she wants to turn us back to basically our own childhood, and she doesn't want to say goodbye. Neither do us, at least at the moment of time. But good things basically have to end, and of course peace will definitely return to Hyrule, but it's definitely at least say goodbye to Princess Zelda, who has basically made us start our journey way back then as a child, and just see her regret it all the way now and tell us return home, home basically where we go. And I honestly didn't want to see that, say, goodbye to her. And at least now we can go 7 years back in time for them. And basically, we get sent backwards, back to the time before we even pulled the Master Sword. And, say goodbye to Navi. And basically, thank you to Nintendo for basically, making this wonderful game. And of course, we head straight to, Princess Zelda to warn basically her, everybody, at least in the Hyrule, in the Hyrule Castle, about Ganondorf's plans. And basically, how this game ends here is basically, how basically, basically leaves on a cliffhanger. And of course, we carry the Triforce of Courage. So, and this is where it shall end. And of course, if you also, let it, settle way through, I don't know how long, you will definitely hear the Scarecrow song that you have put in. The journey / score. Basically, after all the time I have spent, at least kind of going to, I guess the best way of saying 99%, honestly, I think this game is definitely worth to try out / try to, at least, even alone, just complete, but there's just some things I don't really recommend you all do. So, as my final scorecard, there were 36 heart containers, 8 full heart containers, 8 temples completed, 3 mini dungeons completed, 0 deaths, and 15 hours of total play time. And honestly, this game is just fun in general, fun to play, even just for a remote, anything alone. And it's just amazing how well this is, just basically how this game ends, you know? It's a really good experience, and honestly, I definitely recommend playing it. I probably had to mention this in the edit somewhere, but there is definitely 2 save files at the time because, well, I forgot at the time of me doing, you know, like, oh yeah, you know, I'm going ahead and just do this, then totally forgot about it. Later, then I kind of rushed it through, which wasn't a good idea, and I was kind of going off a little bit by memory. Now, of course, Legend of Zelda, at least in my personal opinion, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is a good start at the time of course, of the 3D era and it was a good start, and at least just in my personal opinion, at least a good start. Yeah, there's some flaws to it. It's, again, when it comes to perfect, you know, there's no point of, you know, perfecting the formula better because it's already perfect. And I just want to end up mentioning this because, well, that's just the way Legends on Ocarina of Time. And of course, this was on an emulator, and in my personal opinion, best, you know, go ahead and do that. And to me, it's actually really good. And yeah, the side quests and stuff were a little bit boring. I mean, at least the freaking Tempe Risk gave me a hard time, and the bomb shoot, for some reason, when I was doing this, was a little bit hard time. But over that, I still enjoyed it. Alright, after enough of me saying that, I know y'all want to know what I give this Legends of the Ocarina of Time, my dragon score. And my dragon score is Hoarded. Alright, my Dragon Knights and Dragon Warriors, this is Dragon Knight here, aka Dragonborn, and I just want to let you all know, thank you all very much for watching, and if you enjoy this, let me know in the comments below. And I'm sorry this, you know, it's going to take some time, because I got a couple of things going on and stuff, which I actually mentioned on, of course, on Twitter. So anyways, I just want to at least mention thank you all, and because it was just one of those times I actually want to stop and actually do these type of, you know, reviews, and of course, any video. As always, my Dragon Knights, Dragon Warriors, my Dragon Knight, very well for now, and Dragon Knight, Dragonborn, and Dragon Sage Vlogs, signing out.